This is for the Lebkuchen recipe. It's fairly self-explanatory, but there are some hints, some helpful hints that I'd like to point out. The honey and the brown sugar are put together in a pot and then heated to the boiling point. Then the other ingredients, the lemon rind as well as the eggs, are added to that after it has cooled a bit. So that should probably be done fairly early in the process. You can add the lemon peel, shredded lemon peel, to the honey sugar mixture, or you can add it to the flour. I do it to the honey mixture, then when I bring it to the boil, I figure that it absorbs the flavor a little bit better. But either way is fine. The point is that it has to really come to a boil and then cooled before you put the eggs in. The eggs that have been whipped just with a fork in a plate. But this mixture should cool down, so you probably should start with this. For the egg mixture, you do not need to whip separately. You just take the eggs and you whip them like you were making scrambled eggs. And this mixture is then thrown into the honey the honey brown sugar mixture. The egg mixture that you try as much as you can to get it absorbed into the honey sugar mixture. The most important part of Lebkuchen are the ingredients. And what it says is what you have to put into it. It says 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon, of ground allspice, ground cloves, and nutmeg. That is falsely labeled, that is nutmeg. The ground cinnamon is 4 teaspoons. I'm going to do this over again. You put the citron in the Cuisinart and get it very finely chopped. It's in pieces in the little container, but it has to be almost like a paste. It is very, very sticky. The cinnamon, nutmeg, clove, allspice mixture has been added to the flour and mixed. You can do that with a mixing spoon. You don't have to use your hands for that. But you do have to use your hands for mixing in the citron. The citron is very sticky. It sticks together in a clump in the flour. And then you have to take your hands, preferably clean hands, and slowly but surely make it so that the flour encompasses all the little tiny lumps. You can't get it perfect, but they shouldn't be bigger than a raisin, let's say. They really should be as best you can assimilated into the flour mixture. This contains the citron that has been sifted by hand, as well as the spices and the flour. The mixture will look like this, very light colored. Then after it is in the refrigerator, you have to really mix it well. This is just beginning the mixing process, but you mix it very well. And then after 3 days in the refrigerator, you'll see it'll be a dark brown honey-colored mixture. And from that, you make the Lebkuchen rounds. Now here is the Lebkuchen mixture. I will take it with a spoon, actually, but I just want to show you since I'm filming at the same time. It's a little difficult. I roll it in a ball, easier with 2 hands, and then I place it on the cookie sheet. Like that, and then it spreads out quite a bit, so you have to leave. The next one I would put would be the closest there, 3 or 4 on this large cookie sheet, because it does expand. First I wet my palm because it makes it easier to roll, because this is very sticky. Don't forget, it's almost like doing honey in your hands, but that makes it smooth. And then I just put it here. Dig in with a spoon, take it off the spoon. You don't have to wet your hand each time, but every once in a while it just gets too sticky. So it's good for about 4 of these cookies. I think now I'll have to wet it, although you see that it doesn't stick to the hand. This is a Lebkuchen batch, and the interesting thing is that with this cookie you just leave it in the ball, and you will see with the next photos that it flattens itself. It spreads out and becomes a perfect cookie because of the round ball shape that it's in beforehand. Nothing to it, except that it's very sticky. Then when you remove them, you have to remove them gingerly. This is how those balls come out, but this is tricky. These two bottom ones were ruined because my thumbs and the pot holders got into them. They're still very soft, and you cannot remove them at this point. You have to wait, but the most important point is that it is not over-baked. You barely see a little bit of brown around the sides here, and that means that it will be chewy and just perfect when they cool off. If you leave them longer, they're still good, but they become hard and brittle. And the whole point is to have them chewy. So better underdone than overdone. But you must see a little bit brown around the edges. If that's not there, then they're really not done. They're too raw. You see how there's just a little bit of brown around the sides. The rest of the cookie looking like it's still raw. The difference, these are not done yet. They're still lighter in color, but that's not the deciding factor. It's that none of them have brown along the sides. These are a little darker in color and have a slight brown tone around the edge of the cookie, and that is what makes the difference. See, these are still lighter in color. I have to put them in the oven more, whereas these are perfect. These are pretty good, but they got a little bit too done. Do you see how much brown is around the sides? They are still, though, as you can see how I indented, sticky inside. So they should be okay. Then, with a pastry brush, you take a mixture of powdered sugar and rum, and you just put it on the top. It dries and it looks like snow. See, it looks very good.